Hey, this is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, you haven't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. So when it gets to running this MOUF in this BITCH, yes sir, you are in the loop. This is kind of a part 2 to hide it in a book. If you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. It's not going to be necessarily a series, but I do have some books that are on the way, and I'm excited to receive those off of Amazon. One of the things that I said in the last video was, you know, it's nice to go around to charity shops. Maybe you call them thrift stores. You can maybe go to car boot sales or yard sales, garage sales. You know, maybe in your local bookshop there is a reduced section, because we know books at full price, depending on what the topic is, they can be very expensive. And as I was going about my daily travels, I happened to pass a charity shop, and I think it was this book here, Legal Aid. You know, and maybe this one here, I'm not really sure, about crime. They caught my eye. Okay, I know in the States there is an issue with police brutality. There is an issue with unlawful stop and search. Over here we call it stop and search. In America they call it stop and frisk. We know that there is profiling. Profiling is an issue that we have here in the UK as well. Disproportionate number of black males being stopped and searched. We also have an issue with people dying in police custody or not long after being released from custody. So we believe there's some unlawful behavior, maybe obviously physical abuse, unlawful restraint being used, excessive amounts of force to bring about an arrest. And, you know, I tried to flick through these books. My brain is not really there. Because these books have a lot of just bullet points. I knew that the law books were not an easy read, but they're literally just like bullet point upon bullet point upon bullet point. So it's not something that I'm really going to be interested in reading per se, too tough, because it is challenging. Maybe I'll have to get some law for beginners or something, law for dummies. But there were a couple of books that really caught my eye, and I made sure I tried to get a mixture. Seeing as there were so many books on law, I'm assuming maybe 1 or 2 people after finishing their studies and graduating just, you know, took all their books to the charity shop. This one is crime. I don't know what it is. It says Criminal Defense Service, Statutory Material, Legal Services Commission Manual, the Legal Services Commission Manual. You know, I mean, it's a huge book. It's got a lot of let's just look at the index, because that might make life a bit easier. The contents. Okay, so statutory materials, arrangement and directions, Legal Services Commission, police station registration arrangements. Okay, specialist fraud panel arrangements, high cost criminal cases. I'm not sure if these are examples. Standard crime contrast. It's crazy. It's literally like another language to me. Oh, I'm already overwhelmed just looking in here. Okay, civil procedure. I know that there are some different types of law, so I thought this was an interesting book. This one says the banks on sentence, but what was very interesting is it's the essential book of determining the sentences for almost all offences. Obviously, we're living in a time where there's a lot of talk about equality, inclusion. So discrimination, institutional racism is still a problem. You may find it hard to prove, but at least if you have an idea of your rights, and if you feel like you're being discriminated against, maybe you want to sue your employer, this will give you some insight and maybe grounds. Obviously, a lot of us here in the UK, not me personally, but we have friends and family who come from abroad and they have immigration issues. Sometimes they're not like illegally in the country or anything, but they need help to push forward their case. Now, although I'm encouraging people to go into law, lawyers want to make money. And just like anything, they're going to drag a case out in order to exploit it for more and more cash. So knowing your rights, knowing how to push the your procedures forward may be handy. Maybe not be handy for you personally, but maybe somebody who you know could be interested in or is in need of advice on immigration law. This book I had to get a few years back, maybe 2 years ago. I went away with my church, and one of the things that the pastor actually talked about was financial literacy, the importance of saving, automating your savings. And it's a shame to say that I was so mature before I really pulled my finger out and decided to go and establish a proper, I don't know what you call it in America, but for here it's just like a standing order. I saw whenever I get paid, about 5 days after I get paid, then money is automatically transferred to my bank, from my bank account to my savings. And in a short space of time, those are going up. One of the things that he mentioned, however, was the will. Okay, you can see I'm using a phone. I wasn't lying. Okay, no matter how much you think you have or don't have, you'll be surprised as soon as somebody pops their clogs how many people come out of the woodwork with their hands outstretched. They're looking for possessions, they're looking for furniture, they're looking for jewelry, they're looking for anything, the TV, the PlayStation, you name it. As soon as somebody passes away, family that you didn't even know existed come buzzing around looking for their cut of the goods. So no matter how much you think you have or don't have, it's important to write a will. Okay, I work with a lady, she's an elderly lady, and she's sickly, and we were talking, and she said, I didn't expect my husband to live as long as he did. I'll be honest. This is something she said to me before. She said, but I'm starting to feel really tired now. I don't know how long I can continue. And I really wanted to leave my, like a significant amount of my wealth really to my son. And she said, I've got a will, but it needs updating. And, obviously it's a bit pot kettle black because I need to go and officially have a will drawn up. There's here you can go into the post office, you can just grab a basic will kit. But what the pastor's advising and what I will pass on is get a lawyer and make them draw up a real legally binding document. I'm not saying that a will that you write yourself from the post office is not legally binding, but get a proper will in place no matter how much you think you have or don't have. And she said, I know somebody whose partner is in the legal field. I gave him a copy of the will. I told him what I wanted amended, and we got it sorted. So this book really interested me because it's important. Again, we want brothers to start businesses. We want brothers to know their rights. We want brothers to be able to compete in the world and not necessarily be dependent upon an employer. So understanding how to do their own taxes. I'm not sure if that's what this book is really all about, but it looks interesting, probably just as confusing as all the others. And it kind of just gets worse from there, because the next thing is one of my biggest worst subjects, which is IT. I never took it seriously. I didn't believe or understand how important IT and tech, STEM and tech would become, how crucial and integral to basically every aspect of life technology was going to fulfill. So when I saw these books, I didn't buy these books to donate. I actually bought these books to read because if I can work a smartphone, I feel impressed with myself. This book is completely worn out. I'm sure it's very out of date. We know people are not using Windows XP anymore. XP is like maybe 11 years old now. So I saw it and I thought, it looks interesting. I know it's out of date, but there might still be some valid information in there. It's got a CD. So it was still a bargain, you know, in the store. So this book is specifically for me because I can't do IT for toffee. I know a lot of people who struggle with reading, writing, and arithmetic. I was a bit disappointed when I looked in the book. I didn't realize it was practice questions as opposed to a textbook that teaches you the principles. But again, practice questions are a great way to learn, because once you have the knowledge, you need to know if you fully grasp it. One of the best ways is obviously to just test yourself. Again, we want to see brothers, you know, not standing on street corners being thugs. We want to see more black doctors, black lawyers, black engineers, black technicians. So when I saw this, Success in Medicine, I said, yeah, again, it's practice questions which don't thrill me. These books, you know, there's not much education really in them. It's just to test your current knowledge. But again, if you're somebody who's considering going into medicine, this is the test, the book that you would use to prepare for going to medical school. To get into medical school, you have to take an exam. So this book is actually to help you prepare to go to medical school after you have your secondary or high school education, and then your like senior high. Here we call it college, which is 16 to 18 roughly. And then you would go to university around 18, 19 years of age. So after you've done your GCSEs, which is high school, and then your A-levels, which is senior high, I believe, then you would go and do this exam, and then maybe you'd go to medical school. Another thing we want to actually encourage is black people expanding their knowledge, their options in terms of travel. Okay, there's a lot to see, there's a lot to learn, and it may never occur to somebody who's never traveled very far that there's a whole world out there. So when I saw this little book about Vietnam, you know, it's not a thriller minute, I'm not gonna lie, but the intro was quite interesting. I was disappointed there weren't that many pictures. I know, simple minds, simple pleasures, but I did want the pictures. There were a lot of black and white pictures like maps, but not really. It's mostly information about each town and city, and it's got some tour guides, like, you know, go from here to here, go from there to there, what you'll see, what to expect. And it's got some tips and ideas for if you like a certain type of holiday. Some people like to just relax, some people want adventure, so it's got some suggestions. This book came along for the ride. I picked up a book and I think it was tucked inside. I said it's already at the till, so I might as well just take it. And it's just basically, this is something that you would get at the end of high school, so around the age of 16. And they would help you to fill out CVs, apply to college, think about your career. And it's got some information on the inside about how to, not how to start your career, but there was some, you know, frequently asked questions. And I saw in here how to get work experience. But there was also a bit here about, was it writing? Okay, cover letters. I mean, this is outdated. But again, if you're just leaving school, you want help to know how to do a cover letter. And there was also something in here about how to write CVs, interview questions. If you're in the hot seat, what to expect when you're leaving school and starting out in the workplace. So again, it's all about expanding our options, expanding our horizons, encouraging our young people to not get caught up in street culture. And one of the reasons why I was so excited is because as much as you see all these books, I mean, look how fat that book is. I mean, you might say, well, so what if it's fat? I mean, what does that mean? You know, but these are solid. These are solid books. And some of them are in very good condition. This one itself is practically new. It doesn't say on the back how much it costs. yeah, some of these books, they don't have on the back how much they cost. But we know that textbooks are not cheap. But I got each and every one of these books for £1. So around $1. Okay. Books that probably cost hundreds. This book says £38.95. So £39 for this book on how to maybe draw up a will, taxes, and some legal practice. And I got this book for £1. All of these books just £1. So I want to encourage people, you know, maybe you can't afford to get brand new books. Have a quick look in your local charity shops, you know, troll the sections at the car boot sales and see how much you can really get a bargain. All the information is not going to be, you know, relevant because law changes all the time. So obviously, legally speaking, some of these things are outdated, but not everything is going to be outdated. So thanks so much for your time. I'm still waiting for some of my other bits and pieces to come from Amazon, but I'm excited. I hope this has inspired you. You know, maybe you're not interested or you don't have books to donate, but maybe your interests are being arts and craftsy. Maybe you want to learn another language. Maybe you want to develop a particular skill. Maybe you want a side hustle and you need to skill up so that you can actually have a second or a third income from home. And I just hope that this inspires you to pick that book up and to keep learning and keep growing. Right, thanks so much for your time. If you have any suggestions, comments, pop them in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.